Joining us now is pathologist with the UK National Health Service, Dr. Philip Idewo. He joins us from the UK. Dr. Idewo, thank you for joining us today on the program. We appreciate your patience. We've been talking about the situation in the UK, 57 cases, 36 in England. What was the source of the monkeypox infection in the UK?
I think that, thank you very much for having me. The first case was reported, I think, on the 7th of this month, and it was said to have been from someone who traveled into London from Nigeria. And that one single case was picked up and was being adequately managed. But as you expect, once this kind of rare diseases are picked up, especially infectious diseases, the relevant authorities will get on top and begin the process of monitoring, contact tracing, and all that. And that is really what has been happening. And I mean, I listened to Dr. Hopkins speaking about all that has been going on in the UK. And I think that over here, the government is really on top of monitoring the situation and trying to understand better how it is spreading, and being able to pick up anyone that is showing signs and symptoms, and of course, be able to confirm those that are really true cases. I mean, in a situation like this, you are going to have panic, and therefore you are going to have negative, false positives, people who just feel unwell, and they panic and think that they now suddenly have monkeypox. And again, the name, of course, on its own is frightening, because people will ask themselves, how is it that they are getting a virus from an animal? But I think that with the way the agency here is handling the situation, I think that it is being dealt with appropriately. The other point one we would like to make, again, that speaks to what Dr. Hopkins says, is that virologists will tell you that the monkeypox virus is a rather stable virus. It was first discovered in monkeys in as far back as early 50s, in Zaire, now the DRC, and first human case picked up in the 70s. Very few cases have been picked up or seen to infect humans, as you quoted from the numbers you have cited. But also, despite this long history, there is no documented evidence of mutation. So it's a stable virus, and I think that the chances are that it will be controlled exist. But we now live in a globalized world, and we are people. We interact more closely now compared to the time past. Whether you are on the airplane or on the bus, or the London area is very densely populated, so people travel on the trains, buses, and there is such a close contact between human beings. So I think that is probably what is responsible for this spread.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned, that it was first, detected here in Africa, and the first case in the UK, of course, they detected from someone who came from Nigeria. But there are no cases in Nigeria as yet, as we speak, no known cases of the monkeypox infection. But countries, of course, in Africa are also concerned whether they should be closing their borders, to these other countries where you have infections. But Dr. Idewo, how fast does the infection spread? And how does it spread? I mean, with COVID, we know, if someone is infected, it's an airborne disease. If a person sneezes beside you, or you get in contact with someone who already has the virus, you could contract COVID. With monkeypox, how exactly does it spread?
In terms of human to human, it is via close contact. So it has to be that you are directly in contact with the person who has it. The body fluids of individuals who have it. So it's not a droplet infection. It's not like like COVID or like the flu virus. That people sneeze and all that, and it gets transmitted. That is the fraud. But in terms of animal to man, usually through rodents, mouse, mice, squirrels, and things like that. That is how they think that is jumped to the human population. But there is very little known about this in terms of, well, let me not say very little, but little is known about it in terms of its epidemiology. And this is because it is a rare disease. I think that this is the first time that you will probably see in documented epidemiology where you have this large outbreak, occurring at one time. Instead, you have sporadic incidences here and there in time past. But that speaks to the world in which we live today. We are in a 21st century world where we are constantly intermingling with one another. So I think that for Nigeria, I mean, one thing I would say about Nigeria is that when I travel into the country, I think that we have very robust infectious disease control mechanisms at the ports. Sometimes for those of us who travel into the country from outside, it's very annoying because they ask you all kinds of questions and they tell you to fill that form and fill this form. But I think that is something that I usually take note of, because even entering the banks or places like that, you find that they put sanitizers on your hands. You look out and you see places where they have hand washing systems in place, particularly at the airport, which I think is very good for a country such as ours, where we are resource poor. So it tells me one thing, and this is what Nigeria has consistently been praised for, our capacity to deal with infectious diseases. I think that we don't praise ourselves enough in that regard, but we have seen in time past how even the international experts have spoken to this reality, that dealing with taking the basic steps of hand washing, of ensuring that you don't get in, you don't put yourself in apparent danger. If somebody has blisters, for instance, you don't want to be staying in contact with them. So it means that we just need to be on the lookout. But I think that if we follow the basic rules of primary health care and preventative medicine, I think that we should be good. So I don't think that it's something that needs to be done outside of what is already in place by our disease care experts. As I see them when I come into the country, sometimes, as I say, you look at all these places and people take them for granted, but I think that they are very good decisions being made in view of our state of healthcare.
Doctor,
for people who are not used to it, it could be annoying, but I think that it's safer to go that way.
Yeah. Indeed. Thank you for saying that, Dr. Dewa. And we're hearing that, smallpox also presents just in the same way as monkeypox does. So how can we tell the difference, and how do you know when you have which?
I think, let me say this, Amarachi. The first thing is to say that, yes, the pox family, is large. You have smallpox, you have chickenpox, you have this monkeypox. Smallpox evidentially has been eradicated. So, and that was years ago. I think as far back as the 70s, the WHO had announced that smallpox had been eradicated, and that happened because of aggressive vaccination processes that took place. The common pox virus that we probably can think about today is the chickenpox, which in terms of how it presents, like body pains, temperatures, and all that. But the blisters or the spread in the body is very different from what happens with monkeypox. Listening to Dr. Hopkins, she mentions specifically, with chickenpox in the face, in the hands, or in the genitalia, whereas with chickenpox all over the body, and it's very, very itchy. Chickenpox tends to be a lot more itchy, and commoner in younger people, in children. It's not so common. It can occur in adults, but not so common in adults. And as we are seeing from the pattern of presentations with this monkeypox, you can see that it is commoner in adults. There is the red flag that has been raised about men having sex with men, but I don't think that is anything unique. I think it's just down to the fact that close contact, touchy feelings, and all that kind of thing. I think that is just it. I don't think it's anything to do with particular sexual behavior, but that is my view. I think that it's just the fact that these people probably are not paying attention to what they should pay attention. So in terms of differentiating chicken pox from monkeypox, it is the fact that chicken pox tend to be generalized all over the body. It tend to be itchy. It's commoner younger in children. Of course, it can occur in adults. Where in terms of severity, it tends to be more severe in adults as well. That is chicken pox. But with monkeypox, it's a rare disease. This is the epidemiologic fact. It's a rare disease. It's uncommon. We are having an outbreak now, and therefore everyone is concerned. But even when it does happen, the lesions that occur tends to be more on the face, in the hands. It's not so itchy. But on top of that, they tend to be enlarged glands, that is lymph nodes, around the body. So I think that if doctors or healthcare practitioners and nurses and all these persons are able to identify these basic differentiations, we should be able to separate them and be able to give appropriate treatment to each and every case.
Dr. Philip Edewa, thank you so much for joining us on the program today. We have learned a lot from you.
Thank you very much, Marachi, for having me. Thank you.